Okay, I wanted to make this short video on how I'm going to repair the Bandit 1 that, if you remember the day I lost my Wizard, I was flying this as the camera rocket to kind of film down and watch the Wizard lift off behind it. Well, unfortunately, the parachute got stuck coming out and never really fully ejected, so the rocket came down on its side and it buckled pretty badly, you can see. I'm not even going to attempt to repair this body, so what I did was I took an existing BT-20 tube that I had, and this is exactly 6 inches long. I primed it, painted it white, and I made my own little decal for it, a little water slide decal to replicate the original Bandit 1, which this has not had for quite some time because this has gone through several repairs already in the past. In fact, I don't know if you can see there's a seam line right here. Not sure if the camera's picking that up or not. That is the seam line where the monocoat overlaps. So this is actually not paint here. This is monocoat. So monocoating is a neat thing to do, but it's tedious work, and I just don't know if I like the results as much as I get out of a nice glossed up body tube with paint. That is hard to beat if done properly. So how do we get this onto this? Well, first thing we need to do is cut this off. Now we need to be careful because at some point in the past I'd anchored the Kevlar cord to, looks like right here in the plastic. So I'm going to make sure I cut around elsewhere, maybe along the seam line, because I know that's a safe place. I need to split it and remove it from the plastic fin can. So let me just see if I can split this open. Okay. We got the tube split, and we are, this is twisting on me. Let me get this cap off. Looks like we're going to have to do some sanding work to get some cardboard residue off of the fin can. Okay, so now we've removed the bad part, so that can now be tossed. There's really nothing to salvage out of that. So yeah, you can see here's the Kevlar tied to the elastic right here. But we got a large buildup of carbon, it looks like, around here, which is normal from all the engine ejections, and this extra cardboard. So off camera, I'm going to do some sanding and working to get as much of this cardboard off as I can. I want to get down to the bare plastic, so this will adhere much better. So let me do that off camera and we'll come right back. Okay, I've got the fin can fairly cleaned off. I didn't obviously get all the way down to the plastic, but I didn't want to risk going too deep into the plastic. But I took some sandpaper and sanded it down to where you can see orange pretty much all the way around. I was careful not to interfere with the knots that are tied for the Kevlar cord. I just left that whole area alone. And one thing I want to keep in mind is before I glue it on, the side opposite the launch lug, which is going to be this side here, that's the side we want to see the label of the rocket on. So I'm going to fit Bandit 1 down the center between these two tubes, which is opposite of the launch lug. To glue it, I'm going to use some 5-minute epoxy. It's plastic to cardboard. Epoxy is a great bond agent for that type of joint. And I thought about 30-minute, that's stronger, but I don't really know how much strength we need. It's going to be strong by itself, so I'm not worried too much about it. I just don't want it to have to sit here forever to dry, so we're just going to go with the 5-minute. And it's not going to take much either. Okay. And I'm just going to use a toothpick to mix it up well. And then the only thing we're going to have to do after this is we're going to have to re-glue the nose cone insert, which came undone, and I'll use some plastic cement for that joint. And another thing I'm going to do that's a little differently is I'm going to put this on the plastic end, not inside the cardboard. So what that's going to do is I glue it in, it's going to squeegee out some glue on the outside, so I've got my alcohol and paper towel ready to clean it off. The reason I don't want to put it inside the cardboard is because my shock cord is going to be there, and I don't want it to slop around and get the Kevlar stuck in the epoxy. So I just want to stay clear of that altogether. So I'm going to risk letting some of the glue kind of ooze out the back, and then I'll just clean that up with rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. Okay, so we're fairly well mixed here. Let me go ahead and get some epoxy and run it around. And I don't have to cover the whole thing, just the front side, because it's going to kind of squish its way out as I slide the tube on. Okay, there's the knot with the Kevlar. Okay, there we go. I'm going to slide this on. Again, I want the title decal to be opposite of the launch lug. So there we have that. And as I push it on, I'm just going to kind of twist and rotate as I go. Let me line it up from the back a little more. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, now you definitely see the glue is oozing out, so let's get some alcohol and a paper towel and just be careful. You know, you don't want to make a mess bigger, so okay, got the majority of it up. Now let me grab another towel and let's just do... Actually, let me try a little Q-tip. Just to thin it out. And then a paper towel to wipe it. We can move this out of the way before we make things worse. Okay, there we go. Is it perfect? No, but then again, we weren't starting with a perfect piece anyway. But it's straight, it's aligned, it's attached firmly and strongly. So now that just needs to sit overnight and it'll be ready to fly. But it's holding up well enough where we can go ahead and glue on our nose cone insert. Okay, here's my nose cone. Okay, just kind of see how that fits. Now the thing about cement is plastic cement's a unique glue in that it actually, not only does it just adhere two parts together, but it actually melts the plastic on both sides, and when they melt together and then they dry basically as one piece, which is a pretty cool effect. So let me just run some cement on the inside of the shoulder here. Okay. Take my insert. I'm just going to kind of twist it a few times to spread the glue around. Okay. Let me get that Q-tip back out and wipe off some residual, because you don't want anything protruding out onto the shoulder, which will interfere with the nose cone fitting into the body tube. So there we have it. Okay, I'm not going to put this in case it wants to glue itself to the tube, so I'm just going to let that sit outside of the rocket to dry, and we'll come back when everything is dry. Alright, there we have the completed Bandit 1 rebuild. It is completely dry, the epoxy is set, the insert is dried inside the nose cone, and yeah, I think it came out wonderful. It's again, it's a battle-worn rocket. It's got some abuse, the fin cans show the age, but it will fly again, no doubt, in this condition. One thing I wanted to point out to you was I did steal the body tube from a new Bandits kit. I did have a second bag on hand, so I stole one of the 6-inch tubes to make this tube. And while I was at it, I said, you know, this is what I'm using for my camera ship. And it's not super stable because, you know, it's a rather short rocket to have that big old camera sticking out the side. So what I decided to do is take the parts out of the new Bandit bag, and let me show you a little sneak peek into my next project. This is the Bandit 2 with an extended body tube. What I did was I just got an extra piece of BT20, and instead of a 6-inch piece, I added 3 more inches to it to make it a 9-inch body tube. That's going to put the CG more forward with the camera up front. A little longer, a little, you know, more stable. But one other thing I want to do to it is this gives me the opportunity to install a baffle. So before I glue this onto the fin can, I'm going to insert this baffle right about there. I want to give a little leeway between the motor and the baffle. And if you look at it, that gives you a good 6 inches to install a parachute without having to worry about wadding or anything. Because, you know, the baffle is going to take care of that portion of it for us. The other thing I'm going to do too is I'm not going to glue on the launch lug down here at the bottom like you see that's normally done. I'm going to take a standard straw type launch lug and glue it on the body because I needed that launch lug piece for another project that I'm working on, and that'll hopefully be revealed in the not too distant future. So you'll see why I needed to use that plastic launch lug piece. So that forced me to have to do something else, so I elected to put a standard straw type launch lug on this one. So again, this is a future project, near future, because I want to get back to camera work and photography, and I should say videography with onboard. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So the Bandit here has been resurrected. This one is a new birth with the latest and greatest technology. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this short rebuild. Don't forget, every rocket that flies is eventually going to suffer some damage, and you have a choice whether to toss it or maintain it. And I choose to maintain it. So with that, guys, thanks for watching. God bless, and we'll see you on the next one.